Hey listeners, we are here on a hot Thursday morning. Welcome to yet another episode of our LinkedIn talk show series, Productivity League, hosted by We360.ai. In our talk show series, Productivity League, our mission is always clear to build a dynamic and a constructive learning community around this vital topic, productivity. And the objective is that we all grow together with collective learning of the entire community. Hi everyone, I'm Kunal Sinha, your host, and today we are diving deep into a very interesting topic, and that's the role of technology in enhancing employee productivity. Now, we all know that from cutting edge software solutions to the AI driven tools, technology is revolutionizing the way we work. And we're going to discuss how these advancements not only streamline the process, but also empower employees to achieve more. So stay tuned as we explore the dynamic intersection of technology and productivity today, featuring insights from our industry experts and real-world success stories. And for this, today I have some amazing guests with us who brings a wealth of experience around managing teams and driving engagement initiatives across different industries, using technology and enhancing the employee productivity at their respective organizations. So not taking much time, let me quickly introduce you to our amazing guests for today's event. In this episode, I have two amazing ladies with me, Jiza N. Thomas and Miss Surekha Nair. Welcome both of you ladies. It'll be fun to
Hi.
have this amazing, interesting conversation with both of you.
Thank you, Kunal.
Thank you, Kunal.
Thanks. So, so welcome all of you again to our today's event, and we are really privileged to have you all in our live show today. So, before we get into the real questions and answers, let me quickly explain the structure of today's event. So what I'll do is I would like both of you to first of all take out 2 to 3 minutes to take us through your journey, through your experiences, how you have been, what kind of challenges you have been through, and how it have been an amazing roller coaster for you so far in your professional journey, so that our community also get to know about you pretty closely, and then it becomes more relatable to them as well. And then we can get into the specific questions that we receive from our entire listeners. And definitely, I have separate questions to for both of you, tailored to your specific expectations and specific experiences. And then I would like to definitely understand from both of you how the same challenges have different solutions while you have been working or like coming from different kind of backgrounds, different kind of experience ranges, and different industries. So let's start with Jiza. Like if you can just walk us through about your journey and yourself.
Sure, Kunal. Thank you. Firstly, We360 AI, happy to be associated with all of you, and nice to meet you, Sureka, and share space with you and learn from you as well. So, I am Jiza Thomas. I am currently based in Bangalore. I am an HR business partner and PhD scholar. So, I have worked across two very contrasting worlds, which is startup ecosystem and very recently transitioned to the MNC space. So, I come with 6 years of experience, and I've worked with the quick service restaurant industry, which is your fast food chains, the e-commerce blooming industry in India, and currently based in the energy management space. So, if I have to talk about my education, I have done psychology and HR, which is my two very passionate areas, and I continue to explore in these areas. A little bit about my cultural roots as well, since we're all connected from different places. So I am from Kerala. I was born and brought up in Kuwait in the Middle East, and then came back to India for my further education and started pursuing work here. So in my current role, it is a global business partnering role, and I'm very passionate about understanding people priorities, discussing what are the best people practices, and I'm continuing to develop my expertise in this area. So yeah, happy to be here and join you all.
Wow, amazing, Jiza. Kerala is a beautiful place.
Yes, you are
God
welcome
own country.
anytime.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. Surekha, to you, if you
Yeah,
can just walk us through your journey.
yes. Thank you, Kunal. And Ziza, I'm really very excited to know about your journey. And I can see the kind of young generation, budding HR, rather, I would say. I mean, you're already doing a lot of good things, I would say. Yes, coming back to me, I would say I am all along a Mumbaikar, but I share the roots, like Jiza said. I'm also a Keralite, born there, but brought up in Mumbai, and have almost 25 years of experience. Started my career into HR from a manufacturing unit, which was a small startup, I would say, at that point of time. After that, I worked with a multinational company, which was UK based, and I was there for almost 14 years. That's where my HR journey started up, I would say, I joined as an HR executive, and by the time I moved out, I was a general manager HR taking care of India and Mauritius. And it was known as a TIC industry, that is testing, inspection, and certifying bodies. I mean, if I have to explain that industry, it's basically anything and everything that under the sun that needs to get tested and qualified for quality. That was what we were doing. Okay. Post that, I joined Eurofins. In Eurofins, I got experience and exposure to take care of life sciences as well, apart from the testing industry. And after that, right now, I'm with a consulting firm, that is Art of Living HR consultancy firm, rather. And in the meantime, I pursued my career, pursued learning CHRO from ISB. And as far as my educational background is concerned, yes, I'm a BA economics person with a PhD in management, and recently completed my CHRO in from ISB. And yes, the journey of learning continues. It's not that I would not say that I'm a scholar. I say that I'm an HR practitioner, and my journey of learning continues, and I try to learn from everyone. And what I have observed is, I think each person that I have met in my life till now have got something much better than what I can do. Every person is good at something else. So today also it's a journey wherein I'm going to learn from Kunal, Ziza, and maybe one of our audiences also. And thank you so much for that.
Lovely, lovely, Surekha. And like it definitely is an important point that you just shared in your journey. It's like learning, ever going learning journey is actually the most important part of the life. Because I've seen that like that notion and that narrative very commonly nowadays amongst the youngsters, that we just have to study for 4 years and then I'll not study, which is not possible, of course. And so
True.
that's why I just wanted your journeys to be first of all shared with the community here. That even if it is your 25 years experience and you still have that hunger and zeal for learning, then
Absolutely.
only you can grow continuously, and then only you can grow your organizations as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's amazing to know, and that's it's something that you like people like you inspire all of us and our community members, of course.
Thank you so much.
So
In
wonderful.
fact, we don't have any other way, Kunal. Look at the
Yeah,
way
of
the
course.
organizations are changing. If you
Yeah.
see educational background, academic institution, organizations, be it manufacturing, be it service industry, everything is changing. And if we still have the predominant, earlier mindset, I don't think we'll grow.
Definitely, of course. And the technology is changing so rapidly, and then there are some nature's calls as well, like what we the whole world experienced in that 2021. It completely
Exactly.
shifted everything,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, there was a
and it's
point where people thought that remote working was close to impossible. Look at us today, we're all doing it.
yes,
Exactly.
of course. And not just working, we're doing everything. Today we are actually meeting like in such a setup. We are doing all of these kind of talk shows. Previously it would have been so difficult
Yes.
because online is something that people would not accept. Offline is something that it is have its own limitations.
True.
And
Absolutely.
although we had this technology even before COVID, but it was nature which actually pushed all of us to adopt that technology now.
Yeah.
You have no other second thought. No other
We
option
didn't have a
available.
choice.
Exactly. Wonderful.
True.
So I'm like it's amazing to actually listen to your journeys. So now what we can do is we can get into some specific amazing questions, and we can get into the discussion board.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And so like there are some multiple interesting questions. I would like to put up as much as of them, but definitely the agenda is not to discuss more questions. It's just to open up with the community, share exactly your thoughts. Even if we're able to discuss two questions, but if we're able to share all the insights and you can
Okay.
actually take your heart out in the discussion, that's what we exactly would love to have.
Sure.
Sure.
So what I'll do is I'll keep the questions in random order, uh, to stay as unbiased as possible by not following certain priorities towards any speakers or the community members who have posted the questions for us. And what I'll do is, so Jiza, since you were the first one to introduce yourself, so now I would
Mhm.
give Sureka for the first chance to start with the questions.
Sure. For sure.
Yes.
Okay, so Sureka, here goes your first question. And this is one of the most common questions that we have received from the community. Is like we keep talking about predictive analytics
Yeah.
in forecasting business trends. So I'm like, how in your experiences you have actually worked across length and breadth of the industry, from
Okay.
like every size of companies, and you have been through various kind of institutions as well in terms of your courses. So, what kind of trends you have seen in your opinion that how can these predictive analytics help in actually forecasting those business trends and improving the strategic planning across the teams and organizations?
Okay. That's, I mean, a very good question that you've asked. I would say, like, the way we are growing in this era, rather, it's a totally different era altogether. So, what worked earlier is not going to work with us today. So, predictive data is like the data is power, I would say. Currently, if you ask me, any organization, data becomes power, and it empowers. Why it is so? Because it empowers an organization to take data driven decisions, adapt to the different dynamics of the environment, and stay ahead of time. Now, how we can do that? I mean, take it any department, not only from the HR point of view, maybe from the finance, maybe from the materials department, or in the operations department. If you see, if you have the data, it is very easy for you to forecast the trends. Now, for example, let me take an example of sales. Like, if you have data pertaining to the sales, you're able to predict, like, how the market is going to function. What is the demand of your, clients, what exactly is needed, how their behaviors are changing over a period of time, what are the different patterns that they come across, and from this data, if you can extract information, you can also find, like, how you can allocate the resources, where is that you need support, like, not only from the, from the sales also, you can see how you need to allocate the resources within the HR department, and also, how you should develop the training and development programs, everything put together. So data of one department will actually suppose will behave as a raw material for other department to take decisions. So if I have to put it together, I would say forecasting the trends of the market. This is very important. Identifying the patterns, like where there is a change, like currently this is working, currently this may not work, and in future this is going to be the market trend. And if I have to talk about HR, okay, this after increment period, you will find there's a trend of resignations and attritions coming on. Okay, so it helps you understand the trends and the patterns of behavior, find out the gap currently where you are and what you really want to go, because already you have an objective to take your organization to a different level. So analyzing this data definitely helps you understand the gap and also bridge the gap. Okay, so and also you would say that you can also see that at times through this data you can use your manpower, the limited resources, in a very, very effective manner, be it money, be it even finance, I would say.
Yep. Yeah, definitely, Surekha. So that definitely makes sense. In fact, so Jiza, I'm like just continuing this particular discussion of data analytics and
Yeah.
taking it to another perspective of the data analytics. So I would
Mhm.
like just want to know from you that how can these data analytics also help managers to make better decisions about the resource allocation part?
Sure, sure. So, like Sureka already mentioned, what data analytics does is it helps you analyze. It's a large pool of data we are looking at, right? For organizations, you are able to observe patterns, you are able to observe trends, and this is what helps with decision making. Now, let me talk about the employee life cycle. So, if you visualize the employee life cycle in an organization, it starts with recruitment, followed by the performance of the employee, followed by their development, followed by their well-being, and then their separation. So this is how the cycle looks like. Now, for each part of this cycle, data is a requisite for us. It helps you make decisions. How do we do that? Let's talk about the performance of an employee at the workplace. So, mostly business partners and managers, we have access to data of the past 3 years or maybe 4 years of how this employee is doing. How that helps us is we are able to chart what next for this person, not just in terms of a career opportunity, but also in terms of a learning opportunity. So, do they need to build on their skills or are they ready for the next role? How long will they take to get ready for the next role? So this is a process called succession planning that we talk about. So that's how it helps with the performance part of an employee. Another example, if we look at it like the well-being of an employee. So in organizations, we are able to roll out surveys, right? We are able to get a lot of information which talks about how engaged is this person, how inclusive do our people feel in the organization, right? Is there any risk of attrition? So we are able to tap these points and drive our focus to that. That also reminds me of a recent project that I had done, wherein was related to the separation of employees from the organization. So what we did was we had a large pool of data. We just looked at who are the people we are losing, what are their demographics, okay, what are their reasons for leaving, what are the skill sets we are losing. Most importantly, we don't want to lose our niche skills, right? So when we looked at this data, we were able to come up with a model called a attrition predictor. So this tool helps business partners and it helps managers to say that, hey, look, these are your 20 people. We foresee a risk of them leaving. Let's look at retention strategies for them. So we can be this precise with our decision making with data, basically.
In fact, if I could add up to what Jiza has said, in fact, if you talk about HR data, you can also now, a lot of things have been spoken about DEI concept, right? So even in that aspect also we can understand like what is the kind of employee mix that we are having, and how is the organization growing from the DEI concept, whether we have at times we can say there's diversity, okay, but there's no inclusiveness. Okay, so we actually can try to bring in a lot of corrections within ourselves. It's like having a mirror. It's like data, definitely you will get through a lot of portals that you're using, but how you interpret the data, that is also important to take effective decision, I would say.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Interpretation of data is the most important part. Otherwise, just a bunch and
It's
piece of
only
information.
information, yes.
Yep. Yeah. Definitely. So I'm like, since we're already talking about technology, and we discussed this very superficially about the recent shift that the whole world has seen. So, I mean, the question comes in around technology, but of course, I would just like to reiterate the question in this way: that how does the technology and the recent shifts have transformed? So, this is for you, Surekha. That
Yeah.
how does the technology has transformed the way that employees way of working patterns? So,
See,
I would just like to add up technology and the recent shift in terms of the work culture that we have seen in the world has witnessed.
if you ask me, I mean, if we ourselves see, there's a lot of change because I started my career 25 years back in a manufacturing unit wherein people used to come and clock the timing and then, go and stand in front of the machines. And then they used to work. Of course, there were at that time also, it was a computer numeric control, CNC machines. And right now, if you see, everything is so automized, right? From the time you are actually clocking in. If I have to break it into two different parts when I'm answering this question, first, let's talk about operational efficiency, because if we are talking about technology, it has to be efficiency in the work that we are doing. The job that you're performing has got a lot of tasks. Okay, one task to, it's a set of activities that we do, correct? So if we bring in automation, not all part of your work gets automated, if you ask me, from an HR point of view, from finance, from sales or operations and all, because we human beings are very much important in any organization. Because generally, whenever I went for any talk show or any meeting, I've seen that, oh, AI is coming up, so what will happen to my job? I mean, there's a fear factor of job losing. I would say you don't really have to worry about it. You just have to educate yourself and see that if there is any work that can be taken over by data, automation or something technology, you have got some other time which you can use, in a more productive and profitable manner for yourself and for the organization. Okay, now how it will help, like for example, technology will help us in bringing operational efficiency. Can we look at the task of every job profile that has been handled? If there is any repetitive mundane task which is adding up to the frustration of an employee, and if there is human error, can we actually automate that? Because that will actually give you what it will give. It will give us consistency. It will give us zero error to a larger extent, that can be taken care of. And people who are working at that level, they have little time available which they can focus on their core activities, or maybe for the for the development activities rather, I would say. Okay, then a lot of time you can see that sometimes people are not able to come. We're talking about remote work, and there is a lot of discussions happening that remote working will not be able to here to stay. But can we look at one thing, that yes, when Jesus just said in the beginning of the session that we never thought of having a remote working earlier, but 2 years now earlier we worked, everyone was working from home. Now everyone has come back, but can we just think about, like, somebody is unwell or they have to take care of their parents or maybe to the children, but the work will not get affected. So remote work is available, and remote work not only from home, I would say, work from anywhere, that is also happening. Okay, and look at the way we are doing a video conferencing now. It would have been very difficult for me to come to Delhi or Bangalore and have a conversation, though I would have loved to. But today we are sharing the space from different parts of the country itself, rather, I would say. And another important thing is, like, if you're talking about, take a smaller organization somewhere in, I would say, even in Timbuktu, if they've started something, they can actually sell it across anywhere in the world because of online thing. Okay, it is not only big players like Amazon or Flipkart or something. Now you go on the website, you will find even startups or maybe even small things. You are able to get it from handicraft things. Because how is it possible? Because of technology. Okay, and another important thing is, I would say, it is like, I would concept is a global plus local concept. I would say global. So if your organization is based, and that is what we did, in my previous organization, being into a testing industry, like, if Kunal has manufactured something and he wants to sell it across abroad or maybe somewhere in the UK or US, you need to get it certified at our place. So maybe Kunal comes to me and I would find that, okay, this, I really do not know, Kunal has invented a new product and he wants to get it certified before he puts it into the market. Maybe I wouldn't have the technology, but I got the opportunity to speak to my global partners across the globe and find out, like, can Kunal get the solution? So what happens is, though my organization has got global presence, I could provide a local solution to you. So local concept was there. And improved when it comes to employee experience, I would say yes, it really mattered a lot. I mean, you can see the change that is happening. We have got time. I mean, if I have to come back home and I have to improve something on my knowledge club, suppose I have to improve on my L&D aspect, there are a lot of platforms available. I really do not have to wait for my organization to send me somewhere to learn. Okay, or maybe I really do not have to look up, get my books or something like that. I can just log in. There's a lot of platforms available to learn. So self-improvement is there. You can do webinars also. Like, for example, if I have to invented a new product or launching a new product, I really do not have to just wholly depend on my sales and marketing people to go to the market. Why I can't conduct a session like this and invite people and showcase my product? So it's helping in scaling up our businesses also, I would say. And again, when it comes to employee wellness also, like you can see now Tracto, that those kind of activities are there, wherein employees can actually have access to the doctors or maybe wellness programs staying online also, which was never possible earlier. People used to have to take holiday, leave and then go at that. So I would say technology has impacted us in ways which we don't even know. I mean, we might have to still explore ourselves. Technology can do lot many things. Academy, yes. Innovation, yes. I would say R&D, yes. Marketing and sales, etc. Everything touched us everywhere. But yes, one important, it comes with their caveat is, remember, though we can say that we are progressed, I cannot, close my eyes to one factor that, technology must have taken up to one scale 1 to 10, but then that scale 1, the human factor will never go out of fashion. Okay, because technology comes with its disadvantages also, like cybersecurity crimes are increasing and data overload, digital fatigue we are talking about. Even when you're lying down to sleep, we are looking at Instagram and we are still chatting with our families, we are laughing, we're not sleeping, including myself. So that is also a kind of thing which is disadvantages, but I would say more advantage. It's like balancing out rather what we need to do.
Exactly. Like, even if it is technology, but at the end of the day, you are selling to a human only. So there
Yes,
has to be a human touch, because
absolutely.
technology is not going to sell to technology. Actually, we are just using
Absolutely.
technology to sell to another human. So of course, the human touch can never go away.
Yeah, human touch will always remain in fashion, I would say.
Yeah. So you're wonderful. So one very important point that you mentioned, Surekha, and your point of the usage of technology. So I would just like let Jiza to actually dig deeper into that specific, because you actually touched upon multiple points in terms of the impact of technology. So out of one of that, Jiza, I'm like, this is for you. That since we have been talking about technology, and Surekha touched across multiple aspects of the technology impact on our current working style. And one of the very important part of that is learning and development, which Surekha also mentioned briefly. So
Yeah.
if I'm like, if I ask you that, in your opinion, how has been technology facilitating this, the training and development programs for employees, making it more
Sure.
easier, easily accessible, and how it has changed?
Sure. So, just like how Sureka mentioned, we have a lot of ways in which we can facilitate our trainings now, if you think about it, right? So, there's learning management systems. I think an example would be Moodle. So, I'll keep calling out names of tools as I talk in the discussion. So, it would be helpful for our audience as well, the new tools. So, you have e learning platforms like your Coursera, Udemy, you have webinars and podcasts. So, all of these are modes that we have, but it comes with a lot of benefits. One, you can access it anywhere. It's very flexible. So I recall the last year I had taken up a certification and they had an in-house app, and the app had these modules which I need to take every day, and they had quizzes which followed it, and like a leaderboard also, so I stay very engaged. And I would take this when I was commuting to office, because it was work from office like twice a week, so it saved my time. You can use it from anywhere. Needless to say, it's cost effective. But apart from that, I think the key points, the importance of this is you can have personalized career paths. For example, you have these platforms which are AI driven. What do they do? So they help employees assess their current competencies. So I can see in terms of maybe business partnering, business acumen, what is my current skill? Where do I stand? And this tool can throw content at me and tell me, hey, you need to take these courses to get to the required level of proficiency. So the tool is helping me bridge the gap between my current and required. An example of a tool that can do this is Pluralsight. It's a very useful tool. Apart from the AI driven aspect, we also have virtual and augmented reality training, which happens now. So in most MNCs, when we are making or curating our training content, we are trying to put employees in very realistic situations. So they know how exactly they need to behave in those situations, and it's a very interesting way to learn. So these would be some of the areas where I feel like technology has helped facilitate training for employees.
Yep. So definitely, I'm like I also learned some names of some amazing tools today,
Yeah,
and
very
this
true.
that's really very exciting. Like uh, where AI is actually guiding you through exactly what kind of courses, and you very rightly said this has been a shift because previously it was like very it was a very tough task for people to actually to make them understand and to make like to have an agreement that you actually have to go for a course
Yeah.
because there was a very high resistance and friction for going for a course. Oh man, I am working already since last 5-10 years. How will I, and like what course should I take? Now there is plethora of number of courses that you can actually find on internet, and they're definitely really good because there are some people who are actually having an industry knowledge, and since as Sureka and you both have been mentioning, that has become super accessible to everyone. Everyone can actually sell out services to everyone out there in the world, so people can actually also start sharing their experiences which they have learned over the period of time in the industry, and they can actually create a course out of that.
Yeah, and just to add to that, so organizations can also pull out reports, right? I mean, we missed out the analytics aspect of this. We can
Yep.
see how many employees, what are the courses they've liked, what is not working for them, what is working for them, how is this beneficial for them. We're able to see all this through data as well. So,
Exactly, exactly. And Sureka, I'm like one more question to you, and this
Yeah.
I'm like you have already covered a bit of it. In fact, most of it in your previous answer itself. But in case if you want to add up something more to this, because people definitely want to understand this. So although you rightly mentioned that there has been a threat of so far that like if automations will come, then there'll be a threat to my job or something like that. But then it also comes with certain advantages. That what are the
Correct.
advantage? There are certain advantages of using your automation tools for your repetitive tasks, and it is
Correct.
across every department, be it sales, be it marketing, be it HR,
Every.
finance, anything. So
Yeah.
I'm like, in your perspective, what kind of those advantages of using these operational tools for repetitive tasks that you would like to like tell it to the community members?
Yeah, in fact, I would tell you some practical examples that we had faced this situation when we were bringing in automation within our organization also, and maybe innovation also. I would say I'll come back to that with examples. For me, I would say, like, people like us, how many people would be there? I mean, in the organization, we are not top heavy. We are like, bottom heavy. So what happens when we are bringing in automation, the people at down the level, they feel they have the more fear factor, like, what will happen to me, as I said, always. So we did bring in automation with reference to, what we say, the entire process of operations, like from not from the sales aspect, but from the operations aspect. Okay, so when there was a sales requisition coming for testing of some samples, and then getting it automated right from the entry level where the requisition comes to the entire different departments of physical and chemical testing and how things went on. I would say that what really helped us was, like, people at the middle managers of the supervisory level or the team leaders level. I always consider them as my heart of the organization, because we do our work, we do, like, we are the ones who tell this is what I want, but they are the one who is executing. Yes, at our level we do execute, but at their level, you see that if their absence is there, the organization goes for a toss. right? So I've always felt that my middle managers, the team leaders or the supervisors at that level, wherein lot of hand manual work are there, if we bring in automation, it is going to be a fantastic thing. But what we need to do is we need to educate them, so that what happens, there's no much of resistance first. Okay, make them understand why it is important. And what happens once we automate the repetitive task, I can tell you, I mean, this is what I have done with my team, that I can tell. I sat with them and I told them what are the advantages. The advantages is time saving. You really do not have to go and check everything what has been done by each of your team member. Everything is automated. One is the human error gets reduced over there. Okay, so the another thing is, if you're a team leader, if you're a middle manager, or if you're a person who's doing a manual task, if part of it gets automated, I'm not telling the entire job gets automated, only a task gets automated. The remaining part of your time, you can really try to upgrade your skills. Okay, if you have to go up another level, and you can focus on the strategic activity within each department. There could be some strategies. It's not at the top level, and I'm talking about having leaders across the level, I would say. I always think it that way. And then accuracy, if you see, of course, yes, human errors gets reduced, and the outcome is more reliable. Okay, so that is one thing. Second thing is, since you have time at your level, a time, you really need not have one person do two people's job. You can say that one person can actually have time and upgrade his skills, and he can upgrade, I mean, he can go to next level over a period of time by learning and developing. So scalability is possible. Okay, another point is like, yes, while investment is required for bringing in automation, cost effectiveness is also there, because you really need not require more manpower. Rather, you can reduce, or you can, instead of studying reduce, I would say you can use optimal utilization of manpower can be done. And another point is very important, is consistency. If you have done automation at certain level, you can say consistency of the work that has been there, uniformity and execution is there, and compliance is there. Like compliance, it reference to like whatever you feed in, because again, automation is basically what you feed in. So what you feed in, there is a report that comes in which is actually adhering to the protocols. Because if we are doing such repetitive tasks, chances of oversight is more. Okay, so I would say that the stream process gets streamlined, consistency in reports and results, what you are looking at. Again, I would say that it's always a balance between human judgment and machine effectiveness.
Definitely. So
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you covered most of the points, of course, and of course it covers the threat also that people are generally afraid of, as you rightly mentioned, that when AI will come and all these automation will come,
Yes.
so my job will be at stake. And the best argument for this comes from many of the people that around in 90s people used to say that when computers will come, the jobs
Yeah.
will go away, but we have
True.
actually seen the opposite.
Absolutely.
There have been a
Absolutely.
boom
We've
of the
seen
jobs
that
after
happening.
the computers came. Yep.
Correct.
Right.
So whenever people actually gets afraid of like AI will take away my job, people should actually start thinking of the 90s, that jobs can
Yes.
never go away.
In fact, I would say very important role in HR. As HR, we need to play here, like remove the fear factor. I always say that fear is like false emotions appearing real. You should tell them that it is false.
Right. Also, upskill yourself so that nobody can take your job away.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Exactly. So in 90s also the same thing happened. I mean, people started like facing that heat of like getting like being left behind, but whoever actually upskilled themselves. So it was said that in 90s, like our big brother, our like elder brothers or our seniors, who even did like 6 months graduation diploma courses on computers, were actually
Yeah.
sitting at top positions in like across the world.
In fact, yeah. Just
So
to add
that's
up,
why it is the right time for people to actually get into this automation and learning AI. Even if they're doing a 3 months, 4 months diploma course, that will take them like years.
absolutely to our peak. Yes, yes. In fact, I tell them, when I've seen people coming up to me, ki, ma'am, mera kya hoga, what is going to happen, and blah, blah, I'll tell only one thing. Sit. It is a very important time wherein you can evaluate yourself what you are doing. I
Yeah,
said, break down your job description into tasks that you're doing, and the task which is taken over by computers. You decide. If 60% of your task is taken by your computers, then definitely you're at a risk of losing the job. So upscale yourself, and with this fear, they start learning.
Right.
yeah. And you start going out to the market that the 60% of the part that actually computer is taking away, I am very good at automating that 60% task. Because
Absolutely,
someone has to do
absolutely,
that 60% task also. Na? You cannot just, I mean,
absolutely,
ChatGPT will
absolutely,
not come to the company people themselves that fine, I'm taking away
absolutely.
the 60% task. Someone is
No,
going to
no,
do
no.
that.
Exactly.
Yep. And so, so now as to a one very important point again, which is like a part of, especially if we talk about HR. So
Huh.
HRs also actually have to think about a very important point, which is the employee's well-being. And so,
Yeah.
Jiza, I come back to you on this like specific or an important point that
Yeah.
even if we talk about productivity, I'm like, even if I, so from HR standpoint, of course, I'm telling that it is well-being. But as a manager or as a normal employee, if I'm saying I can be productive only when I am
Yeah.
supercharged, only when I'm positive in my thoughts, and I'm really
Yeah.
happy in my life, I'm really happy at work. So definitely, product also includes your well-being. Now, how
Yeah.
these technology tools can actually help you in enhancing those well-being of the employees?
Sure. So when we talk about well-being, there's two aspects of it: physical and mental, which we know. So if we talk about healthy, happy, engaged employees, they are more productive. Okay, so that is the link to start the base with. So I'll talk about physical well-being and technology. If you look around, like I just recalled this example today morning as I was thinking of the session, the gym that we all go to, most of us go to gyms, right? So it basically functions on technology now. You have an app telling you what exercises to do, which day to do. You can take virtual sessions online, right? We have wearable devices these days like your smartwatches, which measure the most important physiological features and tell you real time. So physical well-being and technology, I think it's going hand in hand and it's pretty much infused into our lifestyle already. But we need to think about, is mental well-being and technology going hand in hand? So I'll share some thoughts on those lines. So for example, if you think of an organization, at an organizational level rather, if you want to check the pulse of an employee, how engaged they are, you have chatbots now. There's one specific chatbot that I recall called Amber. So Amber is a tool which helps you predict attrition. It will keep your employees very well engaged. It checks the pulse of the employees. And this is important because we are also working remotely, right? So
Hmm.
that's an example. Now if you look at an employee perspective, as an individual perspective, again we have a lot of mental health applications, AI powered applications and bots. And on a day to day basis, we face so much pressure at work, like we have 100 tasks to do, we need to prioritize, so mental health goes for a toss, right? And many of us have issues like anxiety, a lot of issues that we're all battling individually. So why not use technology around us? And a simple how is, there is a tool called Microsoft To Do, right? Just it's a tool that allows you to plan and organize your day very well, and you end up feeling very less overwhelmed. So you just need to understand what is the challenge that you are facing and leverage the technology around you. I'll talk about a lot more tools a little later. And I just reminded myself that every 2 hours I have an app on my phone which pops up and gives me a notification: please get up, walk around, and drink water. That is something I am doing for my well-being, right? So you keep your mental and your physical well-being in check, you will be more engaged, happier, and ultimately more productive. So that's the simple link.
Yep.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
So drinking water is definitely a very important point.
Absolutely. I was about to tell that.
Yeah.
It's
And most
amazing
of the
how
people actually
technology
tend
is
to forget.
infused into it.
Yes, yes. In fact, I remember a few years back, I'm like, and that was again technology. People always think that technology is all about gadgets or tools or something. So I'm like, I remember a few years back, one of the companies that based, I hope in US or Europe, so they devised a specific special cap which you
Okay.
can actually so there's actually a small lever in that cap of the bottle, so it actually have a spring here, so you actually like press that specific lever down, and then you actually rotate the cap inside the bottle, and then there's a spring which gets like stretched upon after you actually close your cap on the bottle, and the timing is such a that of that spring tension that after half an hour it the lever automatically gets up, so it gives you an indication that you actually have to drink water.
Oh,
So you
that's
Thank
put
you.
the
very
liver
Thank
nice.
you,
down,
bottle.
you open the bottle and then you drink the water, and then again fasten the cap, and then it again gets the spring again gets tensed for half an hour again. So this
That's
is
nice.
also technology.
Yeah.
I just don't
Very
remember the name of that, but this was an amazing thing that it went into crowdfunding and it received millions of dollars in crowdfunding across the world.
Super.
okay.
Yeah, so it's a, that's a very important point that you said. Actually, drinking water is very important. I
Drinking
also remember that. So so now I mean, it's really heading into a we are heading into a very interesting discussion, and I don't even know that when we actually already got 40 hours over into this particular discussion, because I was just like seeing, and then we are actually heading to the last question. Now,
Okay.
this last question is pretty interesting because now this last question has two parts to it. One
Okay.
question, one part of it I'm going to throw to you, Surekha, and the other part I'm going to throw it to you, Jiza.
Okay.
So when we are talking about adopting this new technology for multifold things, and like for L&D, for employee engagement, productivity, doing the trend analysis, and just like we talked about in terms of well-being.
Right.
But then, of course, as we are talking about that, why we are all discussing about all of these things is like the adoption of these technologies still tough. People are
Yeah.
still not very open, and they are facing multiple challenges. So yes, there are certain kind of challenges while adopting these technology tools, and from both the perspectives, from the
Yeah.
organization's perspective as well as from the employee's perspective. So, from the employee's perspective, I'll come back to you, Surekha, to
Yeah.
actually shed some light on this. And from the
Yeah.
company's perspective, I'll come back to you, Jiza.
Sure.
So, first, I come to you, Surekha, that what challenges do employees face when adopting these new technologies?
Yeah, first of all, as I said, the fear factor that comes to people's mind, that mera kya hoga, what's in for me, why should I be a part of it, and see, and whenever we are implementing this technology, we just can't come and push it into everybody's system or laptop or something. We need their support, as you said. We need them to actually implement also. So without their support, we are not going to go further. So first and foremost is resistance to change. Okay, so what I would say, that as leaders, whenever we are trying to implement any change, this really worked for me in wherever I worked, is before we even invest on that, we actually buy in from them, from the employees. Like, why do we need to do it? Because ultimately I might give money, I might find a vendor to source it and all, but if my product has to be successful for implementation of all this technology, it is my people who are going to work on it, right? So one is resistance to change to be removed by having a proper communication with them. Okay, tell them that it is not going to be chaotic. What is it for them? How they are going to be part of it, and discuss with them all step by step process also, so that there is no chaos. Okay, because whenever there is any change technology coming in, change management, again, it's a big topic wherein we can have a different session altogether. But just putting it together, yes, communication plays a very important role to remove this resistance of change. Second is, sometimes we find that it is our employees who wants to come and tell us, like, this is more repetitive, this is not right, can we bring in some kind of automation, can we go in for automation? At times we can find there's a resistance from the organizational people also, because they feel that right now I really do not want to invest so much money on that, each shall try to let it be. So I would say that that's where we come in, and we try to bridge in and say that what is the cost benefit analysis, what will happen if we go in for some kind of technological changes, how it is going to improve the employee well-being, and impact of the organization also improves in a very positive manner. Third point I would say is integrating it, rather. As I said, might have a new system, I might have a current system. I cannot just bring in a new system and just push back all the old systems together. So how I'm able to integrate both the systems, because that is very important, because we cannot say that, okay, today I'm going to stop my business because I'm going in for a new system, or kal se I can start with a new system. No, we have to integrate, because the business will be running as usual. Integrating the system also is very, very important, because otherwise, again, it leads to a chaotic situation for the organization and for the employees also. And again, security. I mean, security concerns, like employees at times feel that, what is in for me, or what happens with my data? What happens if too much of information? Like, again, customers are there. We feed in a lot of customer data. What happens with the customer data? Customer is asking me, my customer service department, the sales department, that you're taking too much of information. How you're going to, store this data, where you're going to use it. So those things also we need to educate our employees on that aspect. Again, as I said, when I'm integrating a new system, bringing in a new system, while I'm integrating, I know my current level of my employee skill set may be at 4, but if I have to scale it to 7 or something, there is going to be a skill gap. I need to bridge that. So I need to ensure that my employees are provided with proper training required before the systems are brought in. So that's where we tell that, training for my employees is needed. The user friendly, finally, I would say that when the system is actually implemented, whether it is user friendly or not, because if it is not user friendly, again, my employees will get disturbed, and again, my work gets disturbed. So all these things plays a very important role. And again, what are the kind of maintenance and support needed for my staff? Like, if there is something wrong, I mean, whenever there is again any new system which is brought in, there's a lot of chaotic situation, and it continues for a period of like 5-6 months. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. There's something which new things comes up on all this stuff. So during that process, my employees also need kind of support also. So that is also important, I would say.
Yep. So Sureka, of course, like after listening to your answer, of course, this cannot be in isolation that the challenges of employees or challenges of teams, because it intersects with each other. So I hope
Absolutely.
even like Tusa, I'll come back to Jiza, like in terms of understanding the challenges the companies might face. But I hope half of them are already covered in Sureka's answer, because
Yeah.
again, as we can understand that the employees' challenges and the company's challenges can never be put into isolation. They're actually clubbed or intersected with each other. So
Yeah,
Jiza,
yeah.
over to
There
you.
will be an Thank you, Kunal. So there will be an overlap. However, I'll just put my thoughts together about what are the challenges organizations face. So different stages of organizations will face differently. What I mean to say is a startup will have different challenges, a mid-size will have different challenges, and an MNC will have different challenges. So if we look at a startup, their first biggest challenge is cost. Okay, so that will be their biggest roadblock, because they will know very clearly what is the tool that they want, and the need is also very clear why they need it. So cost is their only roadblock for a startup. You come to a mid-size organization, it will be well funded. So cost is not a concern here. However, developing that habit for the employee to start using that tool would become the challenge here. So we will have to provide a lot of training, just like Sureka said, and make it a habit, a part of your daily lifestyle. Only then people will get accustomed to it in a mid-size org. An MNC, on the other hand, has a whole other picture. Here it becomes extremely complex because there's already existing tools. So people start asking the question, why another tool, right? So what organizations do is they deploy change management or change adoption teams. And these teams are focused on only talking about why these tools are important. And they will also tie it to the organization's vision, mission, core values, so that it's more relatable to the employees. So that's what MNCs do. However, when you deploy a tool at an MNC, you are looking at multiple geographies, you are looking at all over the world. That is extremely complex because your end user should not be affected, which could be a customer when you are deploying something new. So this will always happen in stages. The deployment. For if I have to take an example, I was part of an organization where a reverse process had to happen. Actually, what I mean to say is they had way too many tools, and we had to concise it to one. But this is still a challenge because there's already customers using it. We are talking about different regions. So this is an activity which will take like 3 to 7 years of time to actually do it based on the volume of the organization. Lastly, when you adopt a new tool, customizing that tool also becomes a challenge because of the volume and geography complexity. So these are a few of the thoughts that come to me when we talk about org level challenges.
Yep. So you very rightly said about the business continuity, yeah, because business continuity is a very important part that we actually have to take into account. As we are going forward in terms of any adoption of any new technology, or like getting away with any existing technology.
Yeah, business doesn't stop, so we have
Yep,
to adapt to that. Yeah.
definitely. So I'm like it has been wonderful, and here we are towards the end of the today's talk show, and that too well within the time, and more importantly, covering so many important insights and valuable knowledge from both of you, your amazing experiences, and two I'm like they're too relatable. You both have actually put up your thoughts in a very easy go-to language, which is very relatable to everyone, and it was really interesting to actually speak to both of you, and was really an amazing conversation. So thanks for sharing this precious time and this precious complete 1 hour out of your extremely busy schedule. I'm 100% sure there are multiple responsibilities that you already have, and still you actually took out this 1 hour. So thanks, and a lot of gratitude to both of you for actually taking out this wonderful 1 hour, and for this wonderful conversation that we had with both of you here.
Thank you so much, Kunal. And in fact, it was a learning experience, I would say. Good to learn and hear you out, and also Jiza also. Thank you so much. And I'm sure, our audiences also have something to share with us. And Kunal, happy to connect, and let's stay connected. Jiza, same with you.
Definitely,
Likewise.
definitely.
Thank you very much, Kunal
Thank you
Sureka.
so
I think between our weekday on a Thursday, when there is one more day to go for a Friday, this was a great refresher, like a good conversation
Absolutely.
to have. So thanks a lot, and we'll stay connected. And to everybody watching as well, please do connect on LinkedIn. We can share on.
Absolutely, yeah.
Amazing, amazing. So all the best with the great work that you both are doing to empower your teams and organizations. Keep doing the awesome work and keep rocking.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kunal. Thank you,
Thank you.
Sureka.
Goodbye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Good day.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Goodbye, all listeners. Goodbye, amazing speakers out there. And goodbye, amazing listeners all out there. Bye bye. See you all in the next
Bye-bye.
episode. Signing up for
See you.
now.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.